What scares me about 25 though is the fact that Minnesota's in front of you and they only have 4 picks, and that kind of sucks.
Yep.
Because it's they're trading back, right? Like,
yeah, that's in my mock draft that just posted last night, Landry. I had the Chiefs going up to 24, and one of the things that I think about the Titus draft. What happened? Texas were at what, 21 or 22? And everybody's, they got to take offensive line. They got to take offensive line. They're going to take an offensive lineman. Go get Andre Dillard. And so what the Eagles do? Well, the Eagles knew they had to get up in front of the Texans, and they took Andre Dillard. And the funny thing is, I don't talk to our scouts a lot about that stuff, but I talked to our scouts then, and I said, were you guys going to take Andre Dillard? And they're like, hell no. Our scouts didn't like him. And it wasn't really always for the on-field stuff. They just didn't like him. And so they were like, we'd like Titus better. We thought Titus had a little bit more grit, had a little bit more kind of Southern grind to him, if you will. And then they kind of fell in love with that. And so Titus was the pick, whether the Eagles were moving up or not. So it's good in a sense that people know, the Texans, they got to go offensive line, right? They're going to go offensive line. Meanwhile, the Texans might be thinking wide receiver. So you might be thinking, hey, we got to move up. And that was kind of my thought process. Chiefs move up to with the Vikings. They swap. Vikings end up getting a couple of picks later in the draft. And the Chiefs go get the offensive lineman because the Chiefs' offensive line is brutal, I think. I don't think the Chiefs' offensive line is very good at all. And I think that they got to go up and get all linemen. So the only one that I had available at that point, I had 2. I had Connerly and Zabel. So I had them pick Connerly because I figured they'd want maybe a little more tackle. That left Zabel on the board. I ended up picking Zabel at 25 for the Texans. So from that standpoint, yeah, I think the Vikings needing picks, needing to move is going to be interesting. It is. It's a problem, and I think that's where Nick's got to stay on it, and that's where I think moving up isn't a bad option to go up 2-3 spots to kind of avoid that. I know Mark and I were talking about this the other day, 2016, the Redskins, Commanders, or whatever they were at the time.
Canceled.
They weren't going to take Will Fuller, but the Brain Trust was worried that somebody else was going to trade with the Commanders at that time and go get Will Fuller. And so they made a deal, move up a spot, make sure you get Will Fuller, and they gave up, I don't know, 7th or something like that. You can move up a couple spots in the 20s if you see your guy or see a few guys that you're interested in that you want to make sure you go get and give up something from next year's draft that you can recoup over the offseason or whatever, and get your guy. So it is definitely going to be worth watching, especially at 24, because the Vikings got to move. The other team I think it's got to move is 15s, the Falcons.
Yep. The
Falcons only have 5 picks.
Yep.
And so I think those are 2 spots where we could definitely see some movement because they want to get some draft capital back. So I would keep an eye on the Falcons at 15, the Vikings at 24.
Would y'all do 25 and 89 for Chicago's 39th and 41st?
I would consider it because I would take 41. I would probably take 41 and then move down probably a little bit further into the 50s, probably 51, 52 area, and maybe try and pick up that 4th round. Well, 4th round. Wait, we don't have no
4th, no 6th.
We don't have 4th round. Yeah. So I would try and maybe get something at the top of the 4th round as well with 41. So I think if I turn 25 and 89 into 39, 50, 51-ish, and 110, I think I would do that. Yeah, I would do that for sure. I mean, I'm definitely willing to move out of the 1st round. I'm willing to do that, even though I love Booker, really like Zabel, Ibuka, man, it could be my guy. But if I got to move down to 39, I'm still getting a dude at 39. I'm fine with that. And it might end up being, like we talked about, it might end up being one of those running backs. Could be Travion, could be Judkins, could be one of those running backs. So I know, I know you got to win in the trenches. But I think if I'm at 39, I'm at 50. Maybe Ursary at 50 might make some sense. I'd rather get him at 58. But if I'm at 39, 50, and 58, I get some dudes with those 3 picks. I'm gonna get some of those guys. And I know that this draft has definitely got a feel of there. To me, there's two elite players, Carter and Hunter. There's two I might even say three elite players with Genty. Then I would say there's one near elite, that's Warren. Everybody after that is good players, but flawed. Will Campbell, short arms. I think he's overrated. Membu can't play, won't play, left tackle. Kelvin Banks, I think pass protection needs some work, and that's why he's being considered with the Texans. Kelvin Banks Jr. should be going in the top 5, but he's not as good a pass protector as you probably would want a guy to have. Will Johnson, corner from Michigan's coming off a foot injury. The quarterbacks in this draft, they don't really strike up a lot of confidence. Even Cam Ward, number 1, doesn't strike up a ton of confidence. Like, ooh, we got the next. We got the next one. Like, Cam's number 10 in my Harris 100. So this is a draft where, Josh Simmons, we just talked about his flaws all over the place. Jahdae Barron, even though I love Jahdae, like, where are you playing him? You play him at corner? A little smaller for perimeter corner, but okay. Nickel, he's probably a better nickel. I think he can be a hell of a nickel for a number of different reasons. But you get caught in that, and you're like, okay, well, there's kind of his flaw. So my point of that is players from like 10, 11, 12 through like 45, 50, you kind of throw them into a big pot. Like, I've seen Booker anywhere from drafting in the top 12 to, I think, Kuiper and Field Yates have him at number 47. So it just kind of shows where, it's all over the place. Where's Shamar Stewart going to go from A&M? One of the best athletes in this draft. I wouldn't touch him in the top 10, yet I see people put him in the top 10. I wouldn't touch him in the top 20. I got people saying, oh, he's going to this team for sure. But he's probably going to go pick number, 28, 29, 30. Maybe he goes to Philadelphia at the bottom of the round.
That sucks.
So it's all over the place. And my point being, I'm picking at 39. I make that deal. I'm picking at 39. I move 41, 39, say 50, 58, then 79, 89, and 110. I feel like I'm picking up at least 2 or 3 starters in that mix, at least.